I like turtles.
What's up, guys? Back at it with another food review, and this time we're gonna be trying my asshole straight raw, no fork, no spoon. But speaking of ass, we just watched the new Ninja Turtle movie.
I don't think it was ass.
Mutant Mayhem. I ain't gonna lie, I've been a bit of a Ninja Turtle fan my entire life because it's one of those things that they won't let die, just like Power Rangers, Pokemon, and everything else that they create reboot after for God knows how long. But growing up, I've seen countless Ninja Turtle reboots, and when I saw the trailer to this one like 3-4 months ago, I was like, alright, here, let's just do it again. But going into the movie,
I think I only watched like one of the movies, the realistic looking one.
the live action one?
Yeah, where they made him look realistic and shit.
Yeah, that one was
weird.
that one was kind of weird. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but the designs were not it.
No.
Like, they were just fucking huge.
Yeah.
But going into this movie, I would say I wasn't like super hype, only because I've seen them get rebooted like hundreds of times. Instead of just making like one consistent, like we're gonna keep this same one going for a bit, they just rebooted every few years, and now you have to see the whole same origin story every time. But this time they kind of switched it up, gave it a new art style. They switched up like the voices. You could tell they made them more kiddish, like more preteens than teens, and I don't know, I was open to seeing it.
They were 15, I think.
I don't think.
And that's teenage.
Oh yeah, they were 15.
That's teenage.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell they switched up a lot of things for this one. I think it was one of the most different adaptations I've seen. What do you think?
Oh, I don't really have that much history with the Ninja Turtles. I just, like I said, I only watched the live action one, so I don't really have a lot to compare it with. I think that's why I liked it more than you did.
Well, did you know that Ninja Turtles were actually, the artist just took like the story of Daredevil and he just like turned it into Ninja Turtles. Like, you know how Daredevil, like that shit with the slime hits him in the face and then he gets powers?
Mm-hmm.
So like literally in the first comic, you see that shit happen to Daredevil, but the slime falls into the sewers and it gets on the turtles and shit, and that's how they get their powers.
Oh.
But anyways, on to the pros and cons of this video. Well, what do you think you liked about the movie the most?
The thing I liked the most was, I liked the animation. Like, the fighting scenes were really good. Yeah. I heard, I know I heard there was a scene where the rat guy, he was fighting, and I heard that they take it like exactly how like in Jackie Chan movies, how he uses the stuff around him to like fight. I liked how that was pretty cool. Yeah. And the other, all the fight scenes were pretty solid, and the animation was pretty cool too. Yeah. And some parts were funny.
It was kind of funny. I mean, yeah. The comedy is not like, I feel like it was more geared towards like little kids than it was teenagers. But, you know, I mean, it did have a lot of parts that were kind of funny where I was like laughing towards it.
For people our age, it's like just entertainment and just entertaining. You know?
It's like when you're outside and like you're at a restaurant or some shit and you see some high schoolers fucking around, like one out of every few things they say is going to be kind of funny, but kind of more like stupid funny than it was like punchline funny.
Exactly.
But yeah, I would say the movie was kind of funny. The animation had some pretty good spots, like in the beginning when it shows the spot where like their eyes were whited out. That was a pretty cool scene. And the fights, they were good. Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of like the most solid part of the movie. I mean, I think it did also a good job at like, you know, adding New York into it more than certain things. Like the Mario movie, they had New York, but I feel like they didn't do much with it. And a lot of things nowadays, like for some reason, I feel like a good chunk of the last few movies we've seen have all had to do with New York.
Yeah, even Ghostface.
Scream, you know, Scream, Spider-Man, Mario, like a lot of things are just taking place in New York, which I'm cool.
Yeah,
I'm cool
I
with.
like that.
But, you know, I feel like not every single one does a good job at like adapting New York. Like Spider-Verse did. Scream, I don't think it did, but you know, I feel like this one did a good job of being like, yo, this is the setting of New York, and I could actually see it being in New York, not just like we're using New York as the name.
Yeah, they played a lot of rappers, mostly the ones that like come from Brooklyn and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
they want a New York vibe.
Ninja Turtles their whole thing is that they're from New York, but like I was saying, I think it did a good job at like really setting that. Cons of the movie, here's where my list begins. Well, what did you dislike about the movie?
Ooh, okay. You go first.
Alright. Things I disliked about the movie. First off, the animation had some good moments. I ain't gonna front. You could tell like they got a lot of inspiration from Spider-Verse, like on the whole art style shit. but it had so many more misses than I think it had hits. Like, a lot of the Turtles, they look fine. I don't really care about
I feel
Turtles.
like all the mutants looked fine.
I think the Turtles look fine, but like Splinter, they did him dirty. He looked disgusting. Every other mutant, they did disgusting. Like, I understand they're mutants, but like they don't even look like how I feel like they weren't even looking how like they're supposed to look. But even if you forget about the mutants, like the humans, bro, I feel like they went out of their way to make every single human in this movie look fucking ugly as shit.
Hideous.
Like April, she was the biggest one. I don't care that they made her black. I know she was originally supposed to be like mixed or whatever. That doesn't bother me. But my problem is they just made her like a short, fat, small, like she look at this character design, bro. Like, it did not look good at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're gonna change the race or whatever, like I don't even think they changed the race, but you know, if you're gonna say, hey, this is April, she should have some resemblance to what she looks like. You know what I mean?
They did it with the outfit a little bit, but I feel like since they made her, like, it's not even just that they made her fat. Like, if you're gonna make a character fat, you don't have to make them like not.
It wasn't that she was fat. It's like her proportions were just so weird. Like her legs were like a fucking centimeter long. They just made her look like hideous for some reason. And you know, not that I care, not that people are like thirsting over April, but it's just like they just went out of her way to make her just like look gross. I don't know.
This one TikToker said it right. I don't know his name, but like he said, if you're gonna watch something for like 2 hours, it has to be appealing to the eye. Like, she doesn't have to look like sexual or anything, because she's a kid.
Yeah.
Or like she doesn't have to be super skinny or nothing.
It's just like, every time they showed her, I was just like, ugh, why the fuck would you design her like that? It just didn't work.
I didn't like the beanie.
It was just her, like, she was just short, but her arms were long, and her like.
I don't think the outfit helped either.
It wasn't even just April though. It was like a majority of the characters that were humans, and even like the mutants. They just did not look good, and like I understand they're mutants, but they just did not look good, and it was just like kind of ugly to watch.
Mostly that scientist lady. She had the small ass face.
It was just like ugly to watch. You know, I'm not saying they have to all look like perfect, but it was just like when you're watching something, you want it to look like, oh, that looks cool. And a lot of them, like, it was alright fight scenes with like ugly ass designs, and that was whatever. A big thing of the comedy, like. It was too much of like they sounded like middle schoolers or like elementary kids and shit. You know, they didn't sound like teenagers. I felt like they gave a lot of the turtles, like, I feel like Michelangelo, he's supposed to be like the kiddish one, the funny one, and he had like the deepest voice out of all of them. Like Donatello had like a fucking little 7-year-old voice. Leonardo, I didn't really like how they did his character. I felt like they got rid of a lot of what made each character unique, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like a big thing about the Turtles is all their personalities are kind of different and they mesh together well. But I feel like this one, like, a lot of them kind of just acted the same with the same sense of humor, and then to a point where they even had to like have a whole scene explaining how they're different, because if you watch the movie, you can't really, they just all kind of acted the same, except they made Leonardo kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
But you know, it was really just that for me. And you know, growing up on Ninja Turtles, I feel like this movie, it was enjoyable, but it wasn't memorable. I personally think the best Ninja Turtle movie I've seen was the TMNT 2007. That shit was fire. I don't think you saw it, but that shit was fire. And then the best show was probably the 2003 or 4. This one, I'll just put it on the screen. But I felt like this one, it was just like, I hate how they have to reboot everything with every single, like, with Spider-Man No Way Home, I felt like they already did it like, oh, we're not going to show you his whole origin story. We're just going to show you him as Spider-Man and have him going through a thing. And I feel like Ninja Turtles has been around so long that we don't need to see the same origin story every few years. You know what I mean?
That's the same thing with a lot of...
Yeah, it gets repetitive. Like the same origin story. They switched it up a little, but it was the same thing overall. Seth Rogen, like everything he's attached to, I usually don't like. I ain't gonna front.
I don't like anything he does.
Yeah.
And mostly his voice acting. Like, if you don't want to make a voice, it's the same thing I said with the Mario movie. If you don't want to make a voice, don't voice act.
Well, he barely had lines in this movie.
He
like
didn't.
His character, but it was just like a lot of the things he's attached to, I end up not liking because like either the comedy or some shit. Like this movie, it was okay, but it appeals more. They're called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I feel like it appeals more to like elementary kids. Like, yeah. And I just wish they had like a Ninja Turtle thing that was like more, you know, like mature to the comics and to the original shows where like more people can enjoy it. But like this, if you're a Ninja Turtle fan, this is more for like little kids. So
yeah. Not that you won't like it, but
yeah, I mean, they're kind of owned by Nickelodeon now or whatever, but I personally, as like a person who grew up on Ninja Turtles, I wasn't really a fan of this movie. It was entertaining, it was fun to watch, but definitely not gonna watch it again. Not really hyped for what they have in the future. But yeah, I mean, it was just whatever. Definitely not better than Spider-Verse or Mario, I don't even think.
No. People are saying that it would
better than Spider-Verse.
Be better than Spider-Verse, or at least comparable, but I wouldn't say that at all, no.
Yeah, my main thing with movies like this is just like, you know, you're resetting the same origin story every 5 years, you know, like switch it up a bit. They switched it up a bit with the story, but like switch it up more, you know what I mean? Like have it where they were already Ninja Turtles and it doesn't have to be a whole origin, you know what I mean? Because it just gets repetitive, and even with this one, like it was like you got to learn all of them all over again and the same origin story all over again. But it was just, to me, it was kind of boring. It was kind of lame.
I mean, to me, since I didn't watch the other ones, I don't know what to compare it to.
Yeah.
Like I kind of liked it. I mean, I liked the kid voices. It was cute. It didn't really give teenager, but it gave like middle schooler, you know.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I mean, can't expect everything to be geared towards us, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I get it's geared towards a younger audience, but like, you know, kind of make it somewhat Ninja Turtle, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, not fucking 5th grade Ninja Mutant Turtle, like.
Yeah. And I don't like how like all the mutants now live with them. Like what?
Yeah, it was just
I feel like in the next one they're gonna die or something. I don't know. I thought they were gonna die in this one, but whatever.
Yeah, something. Just switch it up. You know what I mean? But Ninja Turtles.
And then they took them to high school. Like,
yeah.
Why? I feel like they're gonna, in the next one, oh, the lady said, oh, they're easy to find now. Like, they're gonna unenroll or something.
Yeah, I just feel like instead of rebooting things every few years, either take like the Spider-Man No Way Home approach, where it's just like, hey, instead of showing the whole origin story, let's just put them in a scenario. You know, you already know the origin story. Why make you sit through it again? Or instead of rebooting it, you know, have a consistent Ninja Mutant, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing going on for a few years. Don't just give us like one movie and then cancel it, and then a few years later, a new movie. Like, it just kind of gets old, you know what I mean? It's like you're milking the whole shit dry with the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'd be more of a Ninja Turtle fan if they had a consistent show running. And I was telling her yesterday, like, with animes, I feel like that's why it's easier to like animes, is because One Piece or Naruto, they've been going on for years with one story. Not every few years, hey, let's reset the entire story. Let's reset the entire story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's harder to like a lot of these American shows, because like they just reset them every few years, and now you got to see the whole thing over again.
That's so true.
But you know what I mean? But it's like that with a lot of things. It's not just Ninja Turtles, it's just, this is the movie we saw. So out of 10, what do you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 6.4.
I'm gonna give that shit like a 4.2. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the review. We got a whole list of other ones. If you're new to it, click the subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
But if you're a Ninja Turtle fan and you did like the movie, tell us why. I'm interested to see if people actually liked it. But
yeah.
Anyways, see y'all next time. Peace.
Bye.
Wake up out the door, it's time to get this money. So many pitfalls in my life, that shit ain't even funny. Them rainy nights had them days looking mad sunny. My clothes nice, remember when them shits was mad.